This is a video demo on how to do Stahls heat transfer foil, and I'm just going to walk you through it real quick. We're just doing a basic monogram with a little frame. I already cut and weeded this. The foil adhesive you cut and weed normally, shiny side down, mirror your design, and it weeds really nicely. So there's that. And then I have my foil that I'm going to use pre-cut. I'm using gold for this one. And your craft paper, that is also a very important step. I give this out whenever you purchase foil. And the last thing is your instructions. You always want to have these nearby because you need to follow them very carefully, because this foil, like I warn y'all all the time, it has a temper. So you want to make sure everything is just right. So the recommended fabrics for foil are polyester, cotton poly, or cotton blends. You want to really make sure that you're not using nylon or any other different materials. Go by the recommended materials. I put on my instructions, do not use foil on something you love if it's your first attempt. You need to really play with it, test it out. Find some pajamas that, you know, are old and just laying around. Try it on that. Foil is not always easy to work with, and until you really get it good and get it figured out, you need to do it to practice a lot. Let's see. Sometimes this clear stuff can be a little tricky to weed, so if you put it actually on a dark surface like a black piece of paper or something, it makes it, see how much more vibrant it got than on the white? So it's much easier to weed if you put it on a dark surface. You want to preheat your garment. This isn't always necessary. It's good to do though. Here I'm using a shirt that I got my daughter from Target. I want to note that any kind of seam or tags, anything that may be in the way, could affect the foil outcome. This shirt in particular is a great example of something that could cause trouble. This seam along the back of her shirt. If I were to do the foil without this heat pillow, I would have a big line down the center of my shirt where that seam is, where the foil didn't take. We know this because one of my foil testers, Brooke, had tried that on one of her first attempts, and that's exactly what happened. It just left a strip down the middle of her shirt. So what we're going to do is put this heat pillow inside of my daughter's shirt, and then preheat. And I will have these heat press pillows in store next week, and I already have a lot of people waiting, so I think they're going to sell pretty fast. So if you want one, let me know and I can put it aside for you. Alright, so we have that. So I'm just going to kind of heat it up a little bit. Alright, so now we're going to position our clear adhesive. So your temperature for your heat press should be at 300 degrees. Mine I usually put at 305 because mine's a little old. So I'm going to go ahead and heat press this. You don't have to use the craft paper for this step, but if you want to get in the habit of using craft paper for foil, then go ahead and do so. So I'm going to press this for, recommended time is 5 to 8 seconds. Okay. And this stuff gets really hot, so careful. And it's very important that you peel this hot. If you let it sit for too long, it'll cool off and be really difficult to weed. So we have that done. Okay, now we're going to come back with our foil. As you can see in this design, you want to make sure, absolutely sure, that your foil is going to cover the top and the very bottom of this design. If your foil were to miss just a little bit, there's really no going back after this step. So you want to make sure it's covered, top to bottom, side to side. Always overdo it with your foil. And you want to make sure your foil is always the color, or whatever colored foil you chose, that side is facing up. You can see that side. So now we're going to take our craft paper, and this step is 10 to 12 seconds, so we're going to do that. Now I want to stress this part, it is cold peel, and when I mean cold, I mean don't get too anxious and peel it warm. You want to make sure you completely let this cool down before peeling this foil away. That is very, very, very important. And I am going to press this shirt twice. Whenever you're doing foil, the first time you press it, whenever you peel it away, your foil is going to look a lot like tin foil, like really, really, really shiny. After you press it a second time, it dulls it just a little tiny bit. And actually, after you press it that second time, it makes it to where you can throw the shirt in the dryer. If I were to leave the foil with just one press, they recommend you don't dry it because the heat is going to set it up. The heat from the dryer is going to heat set the foil the second time, and it'll dull it a little bit each time. So let's see if this is cooled off. Alright, so let me make sure we're focused, and then we're going to go for it. Alright, here goes. Now, I'm not sure what happened in the middle of the bee. Let me show you, get a little bit closer. It kind of missed a little area, but honestly that little bit doesn't bother me. So I'm going to leave it and actually press it for the second time. Let me show y'all what the luster is for this one. It's really, really shiny. See? Okay, so I'm gonna cover it with my craft paper again and press for a second time. I'm gonna put that heat pillow back in there because I don't want that seam from the back of the shirt to affect it. Care instructions are pretty simple for the foil. After you press it twice, it is completely safe to put in the dryer. My Create Lafayette shirt that I made myself has been thrown in the dryer several times, and it's perfect every single time I pull it out of there. So let me show you guys what this looks like up close, because it is really cool. The second time you press, it kind of sits more in the fabric. It's more flush with the feel of the fabric. The first press I did, it kind of was sitting a little bit more on top. And this is why I really love the foil. It doesn't feel like there's anything on your shirt. A lot of times the other brands of foil, they kind of just sit on top and it feels real stiff. This stuff is quite the opposite. And there you go. If y'all have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll be happy to try to help in any way I can. Thanks.